Hello everyone, I am Kelsey. So I have never done a YouTube video before, so here it goes. So I am going to talk about vestibular migraines and my journey with being diagnosed with a chronic illness, and how it basically turned my life 180 degrees around, and it took so much from me. So I'm going to talk about it and hopefully give my friends and family more information about it, because it's still always changing and it's still very confusing, and also give people that might have it or have symptoms that are like it hope for people to follow my journey and hopefully get a little more insight on this and come along with me while I battle this lovely thing. So what I have again is called vestibular migraines, or migraine associated vertigo. Migraine without the pain, without the headache part of it. I mean, you still can get headaches, but it's not at all what you think at all. A migraine is characterized by a unilateral onset of head pain, severe progressive intensity of pain, throbbing or pounding, and interference with the person's routine activities. Accompanying symptoms of photophobia, which is sensitivity to light, and phonosensitivity, which is intolerance to noise, as well as nausea, vomiting is common, and it leads a person that experiences them often to have an inability to perform daily and be at their utmost self. And this is just for regular migraine, like people with chronic migraine that have the pain more than, I think it's 15 out of like 30 days or more. So for me, it happens every single day. I have symptoms, and it doesn't just go away. Some days are worse than others. So with vestibular migraine, 40% of migraine patients have accompanying vestibular syndrome involving disruption in their balance and dizziness at one time or another. With vestibular migraine, you have this mountain of symptoms that clouds your daily life, clouds judgment, clouds your cognition. You have sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound, tinnitus, ringing in the ears. You get like a rocking sensation, like you just got off a boat. That's a very, very dreadful feeling, because it just makes you feel nauseous and makes you feel like you're constantly moving. And I get like a sinus pressure, like in the T-zone kind of area, and like in my cheeks. It just feels like a vice. It's just pressing against them constantly, like a visual aura. Visual snow is like a TV screen, kind of like the fuzz, but like obviously not that severe. It's just like when you look up in the sky or like a white or gray surface, it looks like kind of just bright spots everywhere. And it used to freak me out, but now I'm just getting more used to it. It's just the most frustrating thing is when I was like in class and I was trying to read like book material, and it's so hard because you see these stupid things in your vision all the time, like squiggling around and like blocking out words and stuff when you're trying to read. I have it every single day. It used to only be like when I was having a migraine, like a vestibular migraine, because it's said to be like the migraine and then the aftershocks. And the aftershocks are like the brain fog, the rocking feeling. I'm just speaking for myself. A lot of people have like some and not everything. There's cognitive deficits. I went from being a great college student to now I'm not in school right now. And I tried to do school, and the first day of class I had a very heavy load, and I tried to ask my professors for help, and I tried to kind of, tell them what was going on, and they said I would need to fill out a disability form to get the extra accompanying help, but it was too late in the game for me to do that. So I figured the best bet would be for me to just take that semester off, which is right now the fall semester, and maybe go back in spring or next year. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what is going on and how to fix it. It's been a journey. I will start, I guess, from where it started and then kind of go from there. And I have a journal too. I would journal on like my most bad days, and it's going to be very real and personal and embarrassing. I had some very low points and some good points, and I'm still, on this hilly journey, and it's quite hell. They're trying to figure out, first of all, what exactly caused all of this, whether it's a big anxiety, because I had a lot of stress when this all started, I also had my wisdom teeth taken out, all 4 of them, and they were the 2 bottom ones I think were both impacted. And so a theory is that it could have struck one of my TMJ nerves and then caused all of this, because your TMJ is connected to your whole vestibular system, so it very well could have. Also, I went on a cruise in December of 2016, and as we flew back in January, I had a cold. Never fly when you're sick. When we were descending, we flew from Florida to New York and then from New York to Detroit. And from Florida to New York, as we were descending downward, my ears, it was the worst pain I have ever felt, and it felt just like needles were going into my eardrums and jabbing them. It felt almost like something is kind of leaking. Another theory of a barotrauma, which a barotrauma is like trauma to your ears, and like maybe something like blew out a paralymph fistula that can develop, and then like a paralymph leak, that's a hole that's slightly leaking out, and it's causing all of my dizziness and causing all of my vertigo and all these symptoms that just hit me out of nowhere. Since it's such a fragile little area in there, it's so hard for it to heal on its own. So it can take such a long time. So a theory is that it's just constantly leaking and unable to patch itself. So January, flight. April, wisdom teeth. My wisdom teeth were taken out on April 21st. And then April 30th, I went to the hospital because I had a really weird dizzy spell. Like, I've been feeling kind of dizzy on and off, and I thought it was just, you know, the girl period, and I thought it was just anemic or something. And that's what my doctor told me, is it was more than likely that I was anemic. She ran me for labs. The labs didn't say that I was low on iron or anything. All my blood counts were totally fine in the perfect normal ranges, but she still wanted to say that I was anemic. Bless her heart. I wasn't. I took iron supplements that made me have terrible diarrhea. That was great. But anyway, so I went to the hospital. I was talking on the phone with my brother, and all of a sudden everything went black. And I just remember standing up, and I was just like, Bronson, are you there? And he's just like, yeah. And I was like, well, hang on a second, because I don't feel good right now. And I went out into the living room where Brandon was, my boyfriend, and he was like, what's going on? I'm like, Brandon, I started to get panicky and frantic, and I was like, Brandon, something's not right. I need to go to the hospital because I do not feel right now. And I kept falling down, and I felt like I could not stand up straight at all, and I thought like I passed out or something. So my first quick reaction is that I was dehydrated. So we get in the car. My brother tells me to get some Gatorade or electrolyte water and drink that, and then kind of replace my salts and my fluids. Get a little sugar in me because my blood sugar could have been low. We get in the car. I still feel weird. I felt like I was like internally shaking, but I wasn't on the outside. It just felt like a tremor inside of me. It was the weirdest thing, and I kept kind of getting tunnel vision. I felt nauseous. I just felt sick, and kind of like everything was spinning. So after it didn't go away for like an hour, I decided, okay, I need to go to the hospital because something's not right and I feel like I'm dying. I thought I was having like a panic attack. I've never had one before, so I had no idea, and I was just sitting and Googling symptoms. So obviously I have anxiety, so I was like, okay, this could be a panic attack. Let's just rule other things out. We waited and waited and waited, and then finally after 6 hours, they got me an IV, and then I started to feel a lot better, not perfect. The nurse there, this guy named John, bless his heart, because he did everything he could. He was running around from like doctor to doctor to try and get me into a room to get the IV. So that was nice, and I felt a little bit better after that. I went home, and for the next few weeks I kept feeling like that. So May 13th, my mom's birthday, I drove to her house that weekend, and I had another episode. On the drive up, I was by myself, so it was really scary because it felt like I passed out in the car while I was driving, and it's like a 3-hour drive, so I couldn't really stop and turn around because it was at night, and I have terrible eyesight at night. So I just figured, I'll risk it, I'll be strong, and I'll just grab some food because it's probably because I'm hungry, and I'll go. So I got to my mom's house. I just went straight to bed, and then the next day I got that same thing. I went to the doctor finally, and then that's when she diagnosed me with anemia. I had iron supplements, got diarrhea from it, made me even worse. So I stopped taking that, and then just started taking like a multivitamin and fish oil because I was reading online that fish oil kind of just makes everything better. I got nothing to lose because I already feel like crap. So my brother also was talking to me, and we were saying how much like we missed our like bonding and getting together. So we decided, since my boyfriend took an internship up north in our hometown, the 3 hours away, so I decided I wanted to do something big too, and I moved to St. Louis for the summer. Best decision ever, by the way. It was such a great time. I will never forget it, especially even going through all of this in St. Louis. Everything was fine. They checked all my vitals, you know, heart stuff, all that jazzy jazz, and then they did a CT back in April, and they saw that there was like fluid in my organ area, and they just said that I had like a cyst rupture. That went away, and then we had such a great time in St. Louis, and it totally took my mind off everything. Also, I want to thank Postmates. Postmates, I could not have like survived without them. I was so broke and needed to make money, but I obviously, with all this dizziness and all this like fainting spells and all this like crap going on, could not make money. I couldn't hold a real job. But Postmates though, you're able to make your own, you know, schedule, work when you want. You turn the app on and you just say go online, and you're online. You sit at restaurants that are busy and you deliver. I made $80 a day, which is more than like minimum wage, you know, here. And it was so nice, plus tips, and they reimburse you for like gas and mileage and that sort of thing, and kind of work it out. But I mean, like at the end of the day, you make enough to be able to pay off your gas and that sort of thing. It does put a little bit of wear and tear on your car, but that was worth it. I got to see so many places in St. Louis, places I've never been, and meet so many cool people, and hang out in the hip areas and the cool places in St. Louis. And oh my gosh, I cannot say enough good things about it. And like so diverse, and so many cool people and smart people. It's just amazing. Throughout all of this, my brother is in med school and has been like a paramedic almost his whole life. He has been such a massive stone for me and helped me through so much. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done without him, because he has such a big heart and helped me through so much when I just couldn't see past certain things. I was going to read from my journal, the embarrassing part. Here we go. Morning homebrewed latte, waiting for my margarita pizza to be done. They're healthy, I guess. Haha. This morning sucked. I'm starting to get brain fog again, the whole I feel like I have Alzheimer's vibe, which totally blows, seeing as I constantly feel paranoid as I'm going crazy or losing my mind, because I really do. I'll be mid-sentence and immediately forget what I was talking about, or drive in a familiar place, St. Louis, forget where I am. My words echo through my eardrums like faint birds' calls in the distance. I'm just tired, that's all. Tired of these silent migraines that no one seems to know how to fix. And yes, I know I'm bitching, but every day it's my own challenge. And me putting on a mask around everyone constantly, and them flabbergasted every time I say, no, I feel terrible that day, or it's a facade, so I can trick myself into thinking I'm fine when I'm really not. I just want a new brain. I want it to be the happy, carefree person I was a few months ago. Why can't I have her back? July 3rd. I have been battling severe depression for a while. Off anxiety meds for the meantime, and the panic attacks are back in full swing. I feel everything. I get massive headaches. Every day I feel so alone, like no one cares about how I feel, or if one day I'll be fine and the next day I'll be passed out in bed to block out the dizziness or the general ick. What's worse is the brain fog. I have faint memories and recollection of the details from the day before. The short-term memory loss. All disoriented and fuzzy. It just sucks. I feel like I'm walking on sponges and my legs feel like goo. It's so scary because I'm consciously aware of it, but I can't control it or make it go away. I wanted so badly a few days ago to swallow the whole bottle of my blood pressure meds or my Xanax. I just don't want to live every day like this. It's such hell. My brother and Eric have been so supportive, as well as Brandon and my mom. We're trying to reduce my symptoms. It kind of helps. I'll do a walk run for about 2 miles every day, and then I'll take my fish oil, my multivitamin, vitamin B12, and then CoQ10 enzyme. Apparently the vitamin B12 is good for memory. So far it's not working. I also pair it with 15 drops of CBD oil. If I don't eat something, then I get all shaky and weird again. Enough of the depressive stuff. Also, Bronson and I are going up north in 2 days, so such excite update soon. That's kind of how it's been. I talk about my panic attacks a lot. I talk about like the depression a lot. I talk about like just all the frustration and the stress and how I keep forgetting just the days before, and that's just what's most scary. Is I remember when we did go up north, I was sitting in like my favorite coffee shop and it felt like it was like I've never been there before. I was just staring blankly ahead and I looked so upset, and he asked me like what's going on, you know, and I was just like, I'm freaking out inside. Hate not remembering the days before. I know it sounds like it's not a big deal, but when you go from, you know, doing everything and being this energetic person to a paranoid mess, it sucks. Losing your mind, it's terrifying. And especially driving, going into stores, and I like all of a sudden got a drop attack, and I've never had one before, and it feels like someone is pressing down on your shoulders and you're falling. The best way I can describe it is like falling from an elevator shaft or falling from something. It's like when you're on one of those amusement rides and it brings you up and then it drops you, and like that feeling in your stomach, it feels like that, and your legs just go weak. Kind of feels like you're just blacking out for like 10 seconds immediately. And I have like scars on my knees from so many times that it's happened, but it's out of nowhere. I can be having a great time and laughing, then it happened. I kind of am all disoriented and kind of my cognition's weird, and like it's just everything gets thrown off. It's frustrating. It definitely has taken so much from me. I've been like bedridden for the past few weeks. It sucks. Those runs that I used to do when I was journaling in July, I can barely, like the most I can go is like 0.5 of a mile, you know, and I do the best that I can. It's definitely been a change, and it's helped me to figure out, you know, what's important to me, see my strengths and find my strengths. And I do wish that one day I would wake up and all of this would just be gone. I think that this has definitely shown me what is really important in my life, what I should be focusing on. So I'm just thankful for everyone that has been there for me and shown me how much they really do care for me, because it's so hard to wake up every day fighting the same demon that you left at your pillow, waking up every day into that same thing over and over and over. Every day it's tough to manage the anxiety, it's tough to manage the panic that I've never had before, it's tough to manage the symptoms that come along with vestibular migraine. Every day is a new day. All these trialing of medications, I've tried over 5 or 6 different medications to prevent these, and I'm on one that hopefully will work. Anxiety and panic and depression all go hand in hand with this illness, so it's definitely exacerbated my symptoms. And it's not like I choose to wake up every day like, oh, I want to make a big deal out of this and this and stress out about this and this, and I want to go to the store and have a panic attack because the ground is moving beneath me and my legs feel like they're noodles and they're just going to give out every time I walk, and it's just embarrassing. And when I'm driving, you never know when an attack is going to come. And yes, I can say, oh, I'm going to think positively and be carefree and just live my life. But then when you do that, it hits you. Relate that it is isolating, it is depressing, it is shitty illness and diagnosis, but you can get through it, and that's what's important. For all just believing in me and not making me feel sometimes like a hypochondriac or like I'm making all of it up all the time. I got called like bipolar all the time because like one point of the day I would be like super tired, like an hour later I was already in like full glam makeup you know, and like I wanted to go out and do things and like sort of thing and just like let loose and have fun and be wild. We would drive around at like midnight, you know, through St. Louis with men in the convertible, screaming songs to people and singing to them and pointing to them and just having a good time. But I just thought, because like when those symptoms went away, I wanted to just let loose and live my life fully, you know, with no strings, because you don't know when you're going to get those moments back, you know, you don't know when you're going to feel normal again and get those times when you have your full capacity, or at least most of it, that you feel good again and feel like yourself again. So I'm sorry for everyone for like scaring them, but I also just really want to thank everyone so much, because again, I don't know where I would be without everyone supporting me and being there for me and believing in me, because it's such a hard diagnosis to accept. I still haven't fully accepted it, and I'm still on this journey to getting better. I know I sound great right now because it's a good day for me, but it's such a hard diagnosis to believe in and trust in, because you're thinking, a migraine? A migraine hurts. A migraine doesn't cause all of these weird things. But living through it, it does. It made me a whole different person. Again, there is hope out there. There's a way and there's a will, and you know, just fighting through it and being strong, because that's really the only thing that you can do, and keeping positive thoughts, finding something to distract yourself, painting, drawing. I've taken up that kind of stuff. So it's all a journey, and it's all a fun, not really so much experience. It's definitely taught me so much, and taught me so much about myself and other people, who really is there for you in times that you need them, in times of distress, when the world that you know feels like it's going to hell. The light is never going to shine again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of sad. That's not what I was wanting it to be. I'm just trying to share my experiences and my journey through the chronic illness life. Be mindful of other people and other than yourself, and just trying to spread love, spread positive vibes, and yeah, there is hope out there. I'm sure of it. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much.
Find these perfect places. What the fuck are perfect places anyway?